In my last video, we explored the mystery infield layout of Special Stage Route X together. Following on from that, I decided to take the debug camera out of bounds on other tracks to see what I could find. One circuit that really surprised me was the Top Gear test track. I really didn't expect it to yield much, but it really exceeded my expectations. So, let's take a look around together. Here we go, the Top Gear test track, based near Cranleigh, which is close to Surrey, in the south of the United Kingdom. Here you can see my car, just as a reference point to where the circuit actually lies. You can see the second to last corner here, as well as Gambon, the final corner. Now we're going to go all the way out here to the furthest reaches of the scenery. The first interesting thing to note is that you can see just how far we've come from the playable area. You can see the end of the runway up there, not much to look at there though. This bit's quite cool. Instead of modelling and texturing this section of the scenery, they've just used an aerial photograph of the buildings here. Now here's the first find that I was excited to share with you. If we come to this building here, we can see that most of the textures belonging to these buildings are just photographs. They've not been modelled, presumably because the player is never intended to get close to them, so you'd never really notice from so far away. But in photographing these real-life buildings, the game's creators have actually captured some real-life cars. Yes, these vehicles are likely owned by real-life people working here back in 2009 or 2010. There seems to be a Ferrari Testarossa of all things here, as well as that white car next to it. I'm not sure what that is, but it really does seem familiar. Also, I'm not sure what the dark grey car is on the left either. Let me know if you've got any guesses in the comments. Maybe it's just me, but I find this really fascinating. Firstly, because you've got people's real-life cars immortalised in a video game from 12 years ago. And secondly, because not only are they so far away from the circuit, but they're also facing in the opposite direction. Meaning that the only way you would ever see them is by gaining access to the debug camera like this. That means that probably a good 10 years or so passed without anyone ever seeing them, since the developers placed them there. But we're not stopping there. We've also got someone's little red car around the corner here. Maybe a smart car or a Ford car perhaps? Coming to this corner here, we can see two real-life silver cars too, immortalised forever in the scenery of the Top Gear test track. It could possibly be an old Honda Prelude. I think that's my best guess anyway, but the other thoughts I had around this was maybe an old Toyota Aristo from about 1991, which is otherwise known as the Lexus GS300, and maybe, like as an outside chance, possibly the Alfa Romeo 156, but I think the Honda Prelude is my best guess. You can also see some form of car in the window here, but I'm not sure whether it's actually just a poster or something like that. Moving over to these buildings here, they're not that interesting in comparison. They've captured some bins quite nicely here though, as well as an upside down sign over here. This bit I find quite interesting as well. I believe this is in real life, the main road in and out of the aerodrome and business park. There's actually a barrier and a security guard here in real life to restrict access. You can also see a duplicate of that little red car here as well. Moving on, here's another one of my favourite finds. This building is owned by SGG. They're a garage who specialise in servicing and MOTs. What I love about it is this building is in a higher resolution than some of the others, so you can really clearly see these two cars parked here. One is an old Renault Megane, I think, and there's also an SGG van. Funnily enough, this actual van is still pictured on their website to this day. I think it's a Citroen C15, by the way. Again, this side of the building is facing in the opposite direction to the track, so there's no way you would ever see it from the playable area. It's been hiding away here for all this time. On the building opposite, you can see two more cars here, but they're really enlarged for some reason. You can also see a bicycle here, I think, a car with a spoiler as well, and also this white Jeep type vehicle, which is potentially a Suzuki Vitara. You can also see a duplicate of what I think is a Renault Megane around here. And also this Peugeot, which I think is a 106. Here's the front of the SGG garage, by the way. Oh, and you can also see into these warehouses too. And you can see two vans belonging to the company CFS. There's a red sedan down here which is really pixelated. Possibly a Citroen Xantia? Looking left, there's a whole row of people's real life cars parked here. It's hard to tell what some of them are, but we've potentially got something like a Ford Transit van second from the left, then possibly a Mini Cooper. Then the silver car looks quite like a Volkswagen Golf, and the dark grey car on the right looks like a first generation Porsche Cayenne. If we come around the side of the building, we can also see a BMW 1 Series parked here. Around the back is a duplicate shot of the cars around the front. Next to this, however, we seem to have some different shots of cars we've seen before. What is potentially a Renault Megane and a Peugeot 106. A short way down from this is someone's real life Ford Fiesta as well. I also found this silver car here. Almost impossible to tell what it is. Maybe a Volkswagen Passat? Here's another cool find. So we've got all these trees repeated in the scenery here. And wherever they got these images from, they managed to also capture a man on his boat, which is repeated throughout the level. So obviously these trees are unlikely to be from the Top Gear test track in real life. But wherever they did take these pictures, this guy just got caught up in them and ended up on Gran Turismo 5. I bet that's the last thing he expected. Closer to the track itself, the buildings and vehicles are more detailed, as the player can see them more easily. We've got these two trucks here. I think they're both DAF trucks. Also, there's a business over here called Aeroside. I thought I could see someone in one of the windows here. As again, these are real life photos that have just been used here. But I think it might just be a tree. Oh, and there's one more sneaky car here. I couldn't decide whether this was a Golf or a Polo, but I'm gonna go with a Volkswagen Golf. You've got a few of these Iveco vans on the level too. Some of them you can see from the playable area. More DAF lorries too. Here's another interesting part of the scenery. A building belonging to NBA sports cars. offering diagnostics, repairs and restorations. The interesting thing is that it has the location and the business's phone number on it. If you didn't know, the location of the Top Gear test track is Dunsfold Park, a business park and an unlicensed airfield. There are a few more buildings further down going towards the first corner of the Top Gear test track too. The most interesting one of these is tucked away in the corner, which belongs to Ringway, who specialise in road and highway servicing. But the funny thing is that you can actually see a guy in a high-vis jacket in the building itself. Again, this was just some guy in a normal working day in or around 2009, who unwittingly became immortalised in Gran Turismo 5. There's one more building way over here which is worth seeing. Now, I'm not sure what it is. It's got like a bar and seating area inside. Maybe it's where family and friends can sit to watch someone do a track day, perhaps? Also, you can see a poster of the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren on the wall. The road that it lies beside actually goes on a long way, and if we follow it round, it seems to go around the entire track. But we're going to move on from that to the last section in the video. On the back straight after the follow through, there are 4 more lorries, all DAF again, I think. There's also this vehicle which is used for towing aeroplanes about. Speaking of planes, yes, there's one of those. Let's pretend we're boarding the plane and going on holiday. This should be a familiar sight to most of you. Okay, last stop of the video. This building here. I'm not sure what it's used for in real life, but again, its textures are real life photos of the building from back in 2009 or 2010. As such, you can see some of the building's real life interior within the images of the windows. You can't see much through the first one, but you can see what looks like a photo frame in the second one, as well as some other things. You can see right through this one to the real life exterior outside. I think you can see a car reflected in this one. And in this window, you can see a lamp that's switched on, and what seem to be model aeroplanes on the windowsill. You can see a radio in this one. But here's what I like best about this of all. In this final window, you can actually see a person inside. It's a man with grey hair, glasses, and a blue jumper with a white collar. I love this for the same reason as I loved seeing people's real-life cars photographed with the buildings earlier in the video. Firstly, it's the fact that no one would ever be able to see this unless you have access to this debug camera. This man's just been here hiding in plain sight for about 10 years. And secondly, it's that this person has been fortunate enough to be immortalised in Gran Turismo 5. This could be someone's dad or someone's granddad perhaps, and he's living on here forever. And that's pretty much going to do it for this video. Oh, by the way, there are these little hangars over here as well. I think you can actually see a real life aeroplane in them, but it's the same image that's repeated in every one. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe it's just me who's fascinated by all this stuff, but I do truly enjoy discovering what lies out of bounds on video games, and it's amazing to finally be able to do it on Gran Turismo 5. So again, shout out to Nenkai and the Ademmeister for the Gran Turismo 5 Master Mod, which allowed me to do this. and thank you for watching the video. See you next time.